Hi, and this is your girl Lisette. And you know what? I hope you had a great weekend because you are looking at My Perspective Mondays. We're going to have a great time today. We're going to introduce ourselves.
I'm Israel Maddox, and I'm 15 and 1/3.
I'm Henry, I'm 21.
I'm Lisette, 50 plus.
I'm Mark, and I'm currently identifying as a Caucasian male in his early 60s.
And you know what? Today we're going to talk about why it's important to have multicultural friends, multiracial friends at that, all right?
Well,
Who wants to start first?
Right there you go.
Well, listen, I feel it's important to have multiracial friends because everybody comes from a different background, and it's important to have different views and perspectives in your life so you really understand like what's going on around you, right? So you don't fall into an echo chamber. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. An island all on by yourself out there.
That's right.
All lonely. But what about you, Henry?
Well, I definitely have to second off of what he was saying because some of my close friends are actually white or, a different race. And I think that they just add a different type of, uniqueness to life. If that
Give
makes
me an
sense.
example.
Well, for instance, my one of my very close friends is actually my teacher that I was in drama with. I'm getting nervous.
It's all right. I got nervous too.
Okay, so actually one of my close friends is actually my teacher. I actually went to high school with her. In all 4 years, she was my drama teacher. There's just something about her that when I'm around her, it just feels so authentic and just genuine, and she just makes me feel like I'm at home. We don't have to be the same color in order to feel like we're close.
That's all right. Mark.
I like what Israel said about the echo chamber thing. I think we very often live in echo chambers. Somebody tell me, why am I here? I don't know. What's different about me? But I heard it put this way that I was in a race relations seminar of some sort. I don't know what it was. But the thing that stuck with me was the African-American man who was leading the seminar. The one thing he said that stuck with me was this. He was saying tongue-in-cheek, but he was saying, if you want to know what a black person is like, don't ask a black person, ask a white person. Vice versa. Okay?
Interesting.
His point was, again, tongue-in-cheek, that we think we know what other people's shoes are like, but do we really?
That's a good point. You know what? Because I think it's very important to have multiracial friends, but I want to take it a little bit deeper. I want to know, what do you mean by friend? You talking about somebody on your job or something, that you hey, how you doing? Let's go out for, I'm talking about a friend. Will you bring that friend home with you for dinner? Would you let that friend come and meet your family members?
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because there's a big difference between
Take it deeper
associate
for me.
and like colleague and friend.
Exactly.
Well, I also think that for me to actually consider somebody my friend, they're not just my friend. I consider them family because I feel like we have a close bond.
That's real.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Because I have multicultural friends as well, multiracial friends, multicultural friends, however you want to say it. Yes, I do have multiracial friends, and I've learned a lot from them. I've learned a lot from them, and yes, I've had them over for dinner. Yes, I will go to a movie with them. Yes, they meet my family. I'm not ashamed of them. I don't just like scoop them on the rug somewhere. I think it's very important because when you have multiracial friends, you get a chance to see the world, so to say. In other words, you just don't, the world is not your little community, that's it. But you begin to step out of the box and you begin to see the world from all types of perspectives. So I love the idea of having multiracial friends. It's necessary.
Right. And I think also that, that sense of unity in our time, because back in the day, it was frowned upon for you to have a colored friend or a non-colored friend. So I think in our time that we live in now, it's very important and essential to show that unity. There you go.
Absolutely agree. It's definitely needed in this time we live in.
When I was growing up in a small southern town, there was black and white. That was it. The demographics of the USA have changed a lot in the past 40 years. So we talk about multiracial friends of different races if it's just black and white. That's what we have on the panel. We don't have anybody here who's Asian, Indian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern. And so when you say multiracial friends, exactly which races are you talking about? And I think another thing this just kind of comes to mind, that's a bit of a shame, or one of the biggest mistakes our educational system has made, is we don't require a different language in most schools, because that's how you learn a culture. It's not just through friends, but through learning the language as well. But and we don't do that very well. Most countries do, we don't.
For sure. But we're going to talk about this a little bit more when we come back. What do we lose when we do not have multiracial friends? I will start it off. You know what? I love myself some Chinese food. You know what I'm saying? Chinese food. Well, honestly, I love soul food. For one thing, you're gonna miss out on some good old eating when you don't have multiracial friends. What about you?
Well, this can be expanded to even beyond multiracial friends. I mean, you need friends that will disagree with you. Because when everybody around you thinks the same thing you do, you don't change, you don't develop, you don't become a better version of yourself. You need to be challenged by those close to you.
I like that.
So that's why I believe multiracial friends are important to have, as well as really anybody who just has a different background or experience or outlook on life than you, because they will challenge you, they will disagree with you, and you both will become better versions of yourself as a result.
That's true.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I like what you said, and very often we make the mistake of we read things that just reinforce our point of view. Our acquaintances and friends, quote, on social media just are part of our own echo chamber, I think, as you said a while ago. So, but to do that, it takes us out of the comfort zone.
Right.
It seems like life is so simple as long as, I know what it's like to be a black person, of course, but really you don't until you're really in those shoes, and vice versa too. So.
This is good because I remember I saw this on TV one time where this white man, he painted himself black, and then he began to see how it feels to be a black person going into a restaurant, going shopping, So absolutely.
When you say black, what do you mean, like blackface or like?
Not just black, not white, but black.
He
Okay.
painted his skin like black.
Yes, he
I
did.
feel like people were looking at him for a different reason.
Yes, they were looking at him because
Well, I think she means that it wasn't blackface like the Al Jolson sense. It was actually,
I can understand.
it looked real. I
right,
guess.
not a black face, but he looked like a black person, and he got a chance to experience the different struggles that black people go through, and that they're real.
And on this question, I'm actually going to make it more personal to me. What I lose if I didn't have my Caucasian friend, I feel like I would lose a mother, a sister, a friend, and just like I said earlier, like that's someone that I value so much in my life. So it would be just detrimental if I didn't have her.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome because you truly, truly have a friend that you can talk about like that. I don't care what race they may be. When you can talk about a person like that, that's awesome.
Especially when the time that I needed her, when I was going through it with my mother, and all the issues that were going on, she was really the only person to actually step in and love me and really hug me and just tell me that it's okay and just really guide me and see the potential in me. So it really means a lot.
Yes.
I think I have to say that I don't know you two guys, your background, your current situation, so perhaps I'm qualified to say this, but it's a bit more difficult for people our age because growing up, I didn't meet, especially in the small town of the South, I didn't meet Hispanics. I didn't meet Asians. I didn't meet Indians. Okay, it was just black and white. But now, as you get older, it's not that you don't like people, but it's just harder to kind of get outside that comfort zone and make friends with people that you're not really accustomed to seeing.
It's really easy to fall into an echo chamber, like we mentioned earlier. You surround yourself with people that think the same thing as you.
Birds with a feather.
I had friends when I was young. I had this special friend. She was a little white girl, and we was close friends. And believe it or not, the teacher didn't want us to play together. I mean, that's not your color. You go play over there. That's your color over there. And I hated that because we was very close. You know, we was close, and no one wanted to play with us, but we could play together. And so, I mean, you miss a whole lot when you don't have, for one thing, a friend is a friend. It doesn't matter what color they are.
You don't see color.
Come on, you don't see color. You know, because when you look beyond that barrier of color, then you're going to say, hey, I know what I've been missing all this time, you know.
And not only, I know we're talking about making friends and so forth, but even if you don't make friends with people, it's good to get to know people outside of your comfort zone, outside of your little echo chamber. We keep saying that word, the phrase I know, but they say that travel broadens people. And so the more you travel, the more you get to know the way different people live in different ways and so forth. But, you know, sometimes that component that broadens you is kind of right there and you missed. You don't realize it. Now, I had a friend, an acquaintance, I should say, visiting from South Africa, a white South African. I took him to a barbecue place, a black-owned barbecue place in Kinston, North Carolina, and which to me was just an everyday occurrence. Okay, but he was fascinated. All the new types of food, the way people served it, the way people talked, and so forth. It was a new experience for him, which I never thought I would get just going to a little hole-in-the-wall restaurant somewhere in North Carolina.
That's awesome. Well, we'll talk some more when we come back. Welcome back, and now we're going to get some closing thoughts, okay?
Starting here?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. Get out of your comfort zone. That's the best advice I can give, and that's not easy to do. And whether it comes to making friends of other races, whatnot, learning other languages even is a step in that direction, because it really comes down to this. Unfortunately, Thomas Jefferson said 200 years ago, he didn't think whites and blacks could live together as equals. I would like to prove Thomas Jefferson wrong. And if we don't prove him wrong, we're in for a world of hurt, folks.
My advice, my ending thought would be, step outside of the box. Get you some friends that get you friends that are different from your everyday normal. And, I promise you, it'll give you a different view of life.
Well, I don't really think of my friends as like, oh, that's my Chinese friend. Oh, that's my Korean friend. They're not their identity. Like, they transcend their race, And I think that they really helped me discover the world. And I hope they don't just see me as their black friend. I hope they see me as Israel, Mm-hmm. That's what I have to say.
This is awesome. I had a great time. A great time on My Perspective here. Hope you did too. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. And don't forget to check out My Perspective Fridays, okay? Hey, and whatever you're doing today, have a great time doing whatever you got to do. And just remember that we respect your perspective on My Perspective.